of the Orpington MSS. We did have a couple tech difficulties to end the stream, but we are back as ever. So we have got Max Waterman, who we had earlier today in the winner lane, with that amazing Sun team with the option to go with the Ndidi Armory Corps, going up against Huangwei Zhang, who is running a team that is fairly similar to normality. We are seeing a Chi Yu for the first time today, alongside the Ogre Pawn Wellspring, which, you know, some people may see that as a bit of a drawback because, well, the Wellspring form gets its special defense boost, whereas Chi Yu brings it off of itself. And of course, it's joined by a cast of Amoonguss, Tornadus, Fluttermane, and Landorus. So again, those standard kind of free you're seeing everywhere, and then free Pokemon that kind of pop up here and there as and when they're needed.
Yes, Fluttermane and Chi Yu are best buddies, essentially, in the game, where Chi Yu and Fluttermane can cover each other's weaknesses, so makes that core really, really powerful to go up against. And actually, looking at the team sheets, this Fluttermane is a choice spec set, and the Chi Yu is a life orb set, so just really heavy damage coming off from the board. And of course, Tornadus on the side, providing that tailwind support, so also very, very hyper offensive. This Tornadus does not have taunt, so it cannot stop the Max's Lilligant from going for a sleep powder. But of course, Tornadus does have access to the tailwind, so the Fluttermane and the Chi Yu both, once they have some tailwind support, they should be able to outspeed that Lilligant and get a really big hit on it. Of course, that Lilligant is Focus Sash, so it will survive at least one hit. It will survive at least one hit, but that is, that can be something that is crucial, as we saw earlier today, where if it was going to its Sash, it was going to about half HP, 3/4 of its HP. It was still doing enough, even when it was low health, to support the Torkoal, support the Ndidi. And sometimes you wanted to go to its Sash because you wanted to have Trick Room go up, Torkoal up, and then go forward like that. The players aren't ready to go into their game, so we'll have to see what they are going with, and then see how that adapts into this top 4 bracket, because Max is facing a very different team to what he faced earlier on stream. Yes, the earliest on stream, I think, was a much more of a Trick Room heavy team, but this team from Huangwei is a bit more of a standard regulation E team. Of course, he can't really take easy and knockouts or like really hit. Oh, and here we are, we've got our stream up, and we are going to see that Lilligant Torkoal up against the Chi Yu and Tornadus. Yep, straight into it, and we do see straight away there was that sudden quick click of that sleep powder to make sure that there is some pressure being thrown down on this Chi Yu, which itself is boosted by that sun. And this is one of those situations that we saw earlier on where, even though Torkoal is very, very good, you are indirectly buffing some of the most powerful Pokemon on the opposing side. Protosynthesis on the Fluttermane, just the stab on the Chi Yu. Tornadus doesn't have to go for his own sunny day, and it can just do a bit of everything. Ndidi comes in, which is going to take some of those attacks a little bit better with its boost to its special defense. As you see, Sleep Powder does miss, unfortunately. And then we see Heat Wave coming through and does not parallel that and puts both Pokemon down to very, very low HP. Yes, this Tornadus, I'm not sure. I don't think it went for the Tailwind because I didn't see it go for a move. Yes, it goes for the Bleak Wind Storm. Double connects, crucially knocking out that Lilligant and bringing the Ndidi very, very low. And I think that Lilligant did try to go for that Sleep Powder on the Chi Yu earlier, so that would have been a very, very different story. But Chi Yu now probably very happy with the Sun Boost and the Life Orb. It's going to be hitting really, really hard. And the Ndidi, it did get a +1 from that Psychic Seed, but at 6 HP, anything is going to be able to knock it out at this point. And Ursaluna, it can hit quite hard against the Chi Yu with this ground type moves, and we actually see no protects coming off it. So Ndidi going for the Follow Me, just trying to buy its teammate one turn. Trying to buy out one turn, but of course, if you go for those Heat Waves, that turn doesn't need to be bought. Ndidi does avoid it, even though it is one going for that Follow Me. The Ursaluna doesn't quite fall, and then Ndidi avoids the Bleak Wind Storm again, but doesn't get the same fate on that Ursaluna. It comes in straight away and goes away straight away. We did see Max did select that Earthquake, probably as an option to knock out the Ndidi itself so you can bring something in the back, but it's just one of those things where as well, like the power that is coming through, Huangwei hasn't dropped a single Pokemon and has put Max in a sticky situation because both these Pokemon are fairly weak in front of them. Torkoal with his low special defense stat doesn't really want to be taking like a Dark Pulse or something, does go for that Protect, but currently if you can see those Heat Waves coming again and again and again, it doesn't really matter. And you can go for a Snarl like this, lower chance to miss, and if it does hit, gets that special attack drop. Unfortunately, it does hit the Ndidi, so it is just going to be closer to the curtains. The useless crit for that knockout there. We've seen a lot of those today. It's always getting those crits like at a very, very low sliver of HP, but that is just it.
these two Pokemon can just go for any move. Even if you don't go for something like the Dark Pulse, you can just Snarl to try and cheese away the win and guarantee that it's no like mishaps. You can flinch with Dark Pulse, so every move has a reason to do something. There's flinch, there's crits, there's everything, but it just seems that Max sees the writing on the walls and goes for that forfeit, going straight into this game 2 here quite quickly. In terms of normally those sorts of things in this style of play, either you knock out everything with Lilligant plus Torkoal or indeed plus Armarouge, or everything drops and you just preserve information as much as possible going into game 2 and 3.
Yes, I think that's like the nature of these hyper-offensive teams. Both these players are running really hyper-offensive teams, and I think maybe Henway got a bit of an upper hand from the leads because the Lilligant wasn't able to actually do much. Well, did try to go for the sleep powder, but of course, when you do go for that 75% accurate move, 25% of the time, it is going to miss, and we actually never saw the back 2 Pokemon from Henway, so we won't know what he had in the back. But of course, I think had Max been able to see into the future, he might have gone for the Protect and Trick Room on that Indeedee, because even at 6 HP, that Indeedee dodged both moves. But unfortunately, you can't really tell when that kind of hacks happens. So the players are now going to be adjusting and going into game 2, and Max probably has to maybe have a think, and I wonder if he might not be bringing that Lilligant again in that game 2, because relying on that 75% accurate move might not be the best of situations when you absolutely need to take the win to get into a game 3.
Yeah, it's just one of those Pokemon that's relying in so many scenarios, but if it's, it can't help but miss if it's going to miss. That is just how the game works, because, that could be that little bit of, scratch and an itch that Max needs to be like, you know what, leave it away for game 2. If I really need it in game 3, I can bring it. I can maybe see Indeedee Armarouge being very, very good in this, because if you lead Indeedee plus Armarouge, you can get that combo off straight away. You can Terra Grass, and it means that a lot of these Pokemon can't really do too much to it. Tornadus can hit a bit better into it. Fluttermane can hit a bit better into it. But Chi-Yu, it has to go for those. It has to go for that Dark Pulse, where you can redirect to a single target. You can maybe go for a Snarl to stop a strong one. But that's still not something as strong, and you can really work around that of Armarouge just with how powerful it becomes itself. But it just comes down to what Max thinks is the best here. Of course, Kingway can maybe just go with the same lead again, and there it is. It's the fish, it's the genie, and in front of it is the Torkoal plus the Lilligant. So you could just see that instant throwdown of after you plus damage. But will that be enough to set the motion of this side of the game, compared to what it was last time?
Yeah, so both players picking the same leads are from game 1, so both players deciding that this is their best options against the opponent. The Lilligant, of course, also can just attack the Chi-Yu. The Chi-Yu is holding a life orb, not a focus sash, so a super effective close combat can knock it out. Of course, Chi-Yu can go for the Terra Ghost and just completely mitigate the damage of any super effective fighting type hits, but of course, we see now Lilligant going for the after use, so Torkoal indicating he's just going to go straight away for this eruption. No tailwind coming off is going to be enough to knock out the Tornadus immediately. Chi-Yu also just not taking it very well at all, bringing it down to less than half, and Lilligant, of course, knocked down to its focus sash, but this Tornadus did not get a move off, and probably didn't help that Chi-Yu's ability made its special defense.
No.
But that is very unfortunate, because now that could be potentially, because now Max has lost his option for sleep, and the Torkoal is now also the slowest Pokemon on the field and has no way of getting some speed boost besides the Indeedee and the Trick Room potentially.
That is really the only way you can work through it. Like, Indeedee feels like it's forced to go down that hole of terrestrializing. It is Terra Fairy, so it will take that Dark Pulse really, really well, and then it can just it can opt to use its bulk it gets from the Psychic Seed to make sure it can maybe take a Heat Wave. But this is a exact example of why setting up Sun can be a benefit and a detriment in these styles of play. Because Chi-Yu, yes, you get that special defense boost in front of a Chi-Yu, which Chi-Yu's ability activates, pretty much nullifying it, and then there's the Sun boost, which pretty much takes away even more. So you're basically in that same game, like turn 0 state where it says no boost whatsoever. So indeed, you have to rely purely on, are they going to maybe go down that rabbit hole and go for that Dark Pulse, just hoping there's no crystallization, or are they just going to, click buttons and hope? A Snarl could be very nice as well, because it still mitigates that Torkoal no matter what you do. And it's just a scary situation, because everything can hit everything right now, and if there's no offensive presence, Amoonguss just picks up and goes for a spore, and that's going to be very, very iffy, for Max, because you then can't set up trick rooms, you then can't, use these super effective strong attacks to whittle down at Henry's side.
Yes, and this Indeedee now going for the Terra Fairy, trying to dodge any super effective dark type attacks coming off from this Chi Yu. We did see Max clicking that trick room option, so Indeedee actually just very, very nimble, avoiding all these not super bad, but avoiding all these hits. So didn't really matter. Of course, the snarl went off, so Indeedee not really caring. But Amoonguss now able to get that spore off, so putting the Indeedee to sleep and preventing just shutting it down so that it cannot go for trick room for this turn.
It can't go for trick room, and that is one of those things when you're facing these slowpoke like Amoonguss, you never know if it's just biding its time to wait away for your trick room, or is it going to be going for that spore. You have to maybe pray for those early turn wake ups and get your trick room off, but in front of the Pokemon like you have in front of you, it isn't really a very possible situation, because you can just go to sleep on the Ursaluna, you can maybe start to put pressure down by just putting damage down to it. Sun is still up, everything is just against Max right now, and unfortunately, due to their own work, Ursaluna can protect, which means it's guaranteed to get its burn off, which means that Amoonguss can't put it to sleep once it activates, but that is still the fact that if Trick Room does not go up, it is going to be in front of a very bad situation. There is that Heat Wave, it doesn't knock out Indeedee, but is it enough to make it wake up this turn? We'll have to see. The Spore does go through, of course goes into that Protect, just the best measure possible for Max. But it does come down to this, but it does not wake up, taking that mandatory turn as long as it possibly can. And it does just seem now that Chi-Yu can just start for those going for those heat waves. Amoonguss can start going for damage unlike it normally does. It has got that Leaf Storm, which is super effective. And the best case scenario is hoping both these moves miss, because they can do that.
Yes, and this Chi-Yu is, if it can land that hit on the Indeedee, it can knock it out, so it won't matter if the Indeedee does wake up this turn. But looks like Amoonguss actually going for the Protect, so maybe Henwei just playing it quite safe, saying, look, if you're going to get the Trick Room up, I'm happy for you to just knock out the Chi-Yu, but Chi-Yu does not dodge. Ursaluna dodges that really powerful Heat Wave in the sun. Indeedee unfortunately does not, so now it is Ursaluna against all three of Henwei's team, and I think Ursaluna does have Earthquake, so there is nice spread damage, but Facade actually going off into the Amoonguss, so very nice Protect there. And now this Ursaluna is the slow, it's not the slowest, Amoonguss is the slowest, but it's going to be hit quite hard by that Chi-Yu before it can get an attack off.
And that is just a very unfortunate case for Max, especially after getting that run of luck. There's a Dark Pulsar to guarantee it hits. You can also flinch if you really, really need to bide your time with that. Facade does go through and goes into the Amoonguss. It doesn't even knock it out, and it gets hurt by the Rocky Helmet. And then we can just see a Leaf Storm come out here. So even if it didn't hit, the Rocky Helmet plus the burn would have been a slow enough chip. That crit, again, another one of those crits that you really, really don't want to see it this late, just to put a bit of extra salt into the wound. And Hengyue goes ahead and takes this game pretty swiftly with a 2-0, and is going to be our first finalist of today's MSS. And very, very good to see. Sometimes it is just nice to use those really, really orthodox teams. Even if you've got your own little twist on it, like that Chi-Yu, which you don't see as often now, it still shows you can proceed. It still shows that you know the meta, you know the game, and considerations to Max there, who took a very, very funky team all the way to the semi-finals. And it'll be nice to see what they bring maybe tomorrow, or if they play on any of the PCs throughout the weekend. And it's just one of those things where you got so far, you fell short, but at least you did it in style.
Yeah, I really, really like Max's team. Of course, one thing I thought really interesting is how we actually never went for the Tailwind at all. Even though the Tornadoes was there, could have gone for the Tailwind, and he mitigated any after you eruptions and steep paddles, but he didn't go for it. But he still ended up winning, and in quite a dominant fashion. But both players taking really well deserved positions in this top cut, and I'm sure we'll see more of them in the future. And I think our other match, which is Maddie Morgan against Costa, which should be finishing up now, we will find out who the winner of that is, and we'll be back and bringing you the finals of this Orpington MSS.
Bye.